What's up guys, thank you for joining me with this tutorial too as well. This tutorial is actually just a continuation tutorial from where I left off when I was making the video on how to make characters jump in using pygame sprites. If you haven't watched the video, don't worry, I'll be leaving the link to the video in the description box, so make sure you check it out. So this is where actually the little modification that I did, that our player can be jumping but only twice. It cannot jump more than two times that's it can't jump in the air twice, and then we have to be dodging these red balls. So this is what we are basically going to do in this tutorial, so stay tuned. Let's do everything together. Now, so this is where we left off in the tutorial how to make a character jump in using pygame sprites. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is, as you heard, I said the player can only jump twice but not twice in the air. So this is where we actually ended up in the last tutorial. So the player was able to jump and go off the screen. So in order to correct this, we have a self.jump variable over here. I'm going to add another variable called self.doublejump. And I'm going to set it to, once I have this set to false, how are you going to control this self.doublejump? Anytime, this is the code for when the block or our character is on the ground, right? So anytime it's on the ground, we set the jump variable to false. We also have to set the jump variable, the double jump variable, to false. Once I have this done, now we head on to our event loop, where we get all the events, and when the key space is pressed, we want to check, instead of making it jump just like that, we are going to check if player.jumped, if the player has jumped, and then once the player has jumped, we want to check if the player has jumped and then it has not double jumped, so, and not player dot double jumped. If the player has jumped, we want to make the player jump again, so player dot jump. We want the player to jump, and then let's bring it a bit down. What this statement is basically saying is that if player.jump, that's if the player has jumped but our player.doublejump variable is false, we want the player to jump, and then we have to set the double jump variable to true. So we set the double jump variable to true. So anytime the player has jumped but it's not double jump, we want to set the double jump variable to true. Perfect. And then we also have to check if player.jumped. If the player has not jumped, that one too, we want the player to jump. So let me test this out and see what I'm getting right now. So perfect. So right now we can't be jumping more than twice from the ground. So 1, 2. I can't go for the third one in the air. Good. So once we are done with this, I'm going to create the red obstacles that we saw just before this video. So the red obstacles, they are going to be almost just like the player class. So I'm going to copy this from here. I'm just going to copy and then paste them down here. Change this to obstacle, and then instead of filling it with yellow, I'm going to fill it with red color. Then since they will be moving in the x direction, I have to change this to x velocity, and for them always they will be moving, so I'm going to set the x velocity to negative, let me use -10 for now. And then I'm going to add them to all sprites, so all sprites dot add the obstacle, whatever obstacle it is, and in the update method we are going to make the obstacles move from right to left. So self.rect.y my plus equals, and we add the self.xvel, the x velocity to it, so it will be reducing the x position of it by the x velocity. And then we always have to have a look to be checking if the self.rect.x, that's if the block or the red block has gone off the screen, as if it is less than -50, then we want it to kill itself automatically, just commit suicide. Self.kill. Perfect. So now I'm going to make an instance of the obstacle over here. So the first one, obstacle, then assigning it to making an obstacle object over here. Then I have to have an obstacle group as well. What do you think? Obstacle group is going to be pygame dot sprite dot. So we add the obstacle. So we add the obstacle to the obstacle group. Obstacle. Perfect. Now, since every sprite is added to the all sprites group, it will be updated and drawn over here. So just going to run this piece of code. Let's see. Good. So we got the red box gone away very quick. So the position, I'm going to make the y position, the x position to, instead of making it at 50, let me use 400 for it, and check it out. Perfect. So it moved from here, getting off the screen. Now once this one is gone, we want another one to come, right? So I'm just going to make a loop to be checking that, and it will be producing the obstacles eventually. So over here I'm going to check for a random integer. So I'm first going to import the random module if I haven't done so. Okay, we did it in the other program, so I've already imported this random variable over here. So we are going to generate a random variable. So if random.random integer, and the random integer between 0 and let's say 50, if that random integer that's generated is 0, that's I'm using 0 for it, then we want a new obstacle to be made. New obs is equal to an obstacle via an obstacle instance, and then we add it through. So obstacle group dot add the new obstacle, new obs. Perfect. This code should work out, so just going to run it. Wow, so we are now getting the obstacles. Perfect. Everything is working properly. Let me run it again. trying to skip them with double jump. Okay, good. Now the last thing that I'm going to do is to check whether our yellow character is to check whether our yellow character is having collision with the red boxes. So in order to do this with pygame sprite, is very simple. All what we do is, you see, since we have two groups over here, we have the player and then the obstacle groups, or the obstacle group, right? So we are going to check collision between the player and the obstacle group. What we say is pygame. We are going to say if pygame dot sprite collide, and then the first parameter, the first argument we have to pass in is the sprite, so our player, and then what we wanted to check the collision with, the group is going to be the obstacle group. And then do we want it to kill, like when they collide, do you want the obstacle to disappear or what, something like that. So right now I'm going to use false for it, so that we see everything that they have really collided, so that you see that they have really collided. So I'm just going to exit out of this loop. So we use the running variable to be checking this loop. So I'm going to just print game over, print to our terminal game over, and then after printing this game over, we want to set the running variable to false, and everything should be working out. Okay, so okay, so we got it here. Let me jump. Okay, we got it here. Let me jump, double jump. I'm waiting for another red box to come. I just jump it, double jump. I want to use a single jump over here. Perfect, it worked. Single jump. Oh, then we had a crash with it. So see, in the terminal we got a game over here, and it will be fun to have a score variable attached to our game. So over here, I'm going to make a variable called score, and initially it's 0. And then anytime a sprite kills itself, like when it moves away out of the screen, when it is nowhere to be found in the screen, you just want to add 1 to the score. So score plus equals 10. As you can see, we have gotten a red line down over here. It's a unresolved reference score. So what we do is we have to make the score a global variable so that it can be accessed inside this class. So this score over here should be accessed by this class. So what we say is we have to make it global variable score. What it means is that we want to make the score variable global. Perfect. So this should work out. When we run it, we shouldn't get any errors. So I'm just going to try it out. Okay, and when we are done, we want, after it print game over, you say game over, and you say your score is, and then the value of score, whatever we have for score. So just going to test out this code. I think everything should be working properly and normally. Perfect. So we got game over, your score is 10. Let me just test it out again and see where we've got to. I'm going to use double jump. Oh, this time around I got 20. Let me check it out once again. So I'm waiting for another red ball to appear. Perfect. And then I jumped it. Right now my score is increasing. So I want you to play it. After you code it yourself, everything yourself, you play the game, and then you let me know in the comment section the score you got, your best score before you got hit. Oh shit. So either my best score is 70. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful. Thanks for watching.